The United Nations is calling the bloodshed in the Sudanese city of El-Fasher a stain on the international community. And it says action should have been taken earlier to stop the violence. Thousands of people have been killed and more than 12 million displaced in the ongoing war between Sudan's army and the Rapid Support Forces paramilitary group. The rate of atrocities escalated when the RSF recently seized the northern city of El-Fasher. This next report features testimonies and accounts from survivors.
More than 12 million Sudanese have been forced from their homes, victims of nearly 2 years of war between the army and the Rapid Support Forces. Since October, another 140,000 have fled attacks around Kordofan and El-Fasher.
We fled El-Fasher towards Tawila. After the incidents, we witnessed many scenes. Unarmed civilians were being executed right there in the streets. Many citizens were killed. There are children here who made it to Tawila. Their mothers died. They disappeared without a trace. We were around 250 people moving at the same time. All of a sudden, they executed some of the people among us, killed part of our group right there. Then one of them shouted at us, "Run, run." And as soon as we started running, he opened fire with a machine gun. Tap, 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 bullets everywhere. You just ran for your life. If you hesitated for even a second, that was it. You'd die.
Those who made it out say they arrived with nothing.
They took everything, your belongings, your money. They left you with nothing, not even a phone, and forced you to keep walking. We walked for 4 days straight, suffering from hunger and thirst.
Aid agencies say the needs are great and that they're running out of supplies. The UN's International Organization for Migration says its $229 million appeal for Sudan has received less than 10% of the funding this year.
Who have been wounded, who have been killed. Sudan is the world's biggest displacement crisis, but the funding, the resources that are available to support people in need are nowhere close to the needs.
In Tawila, only 1 in 10 people in camps had reliable access to water. And that's before the latest influx. With little help available, many are heading west to Chad or north to Libya, facing repeated displacement and risking their lives in the process.
And for more, we can speak now to Madeline Garlick, who's Chief of Protection Policy and Legal Advice at the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR. Great pleasure to have you on the programme today. Thank you for your time. You spoke today at the UN Human Rights Council emergency session. Can you tell us what is the UN's main message regarding the humanitarian crisis in Sudan?
Thank you. The UN's deeply concerned at the escalating violence in and around Al-Fasher and the dire needs that the remaining civilian population is facing. We're continuing to see targeted killings, sexual violence, forced disappearances, forced recruitment, including of children, and other human rights violations on a massive scale. Those who are trying to leave the city are finding their routes blocked as we have militias that are controlling the roads, and those that have got out are reporting devastating experiences and trauma, and their needs are simply not being met. The resources available to support the humanitarian effort are insufficient and desperately need to be increased.
So the situation is bad enough, and yet we're hearing the RSF paramilitary forces are pushing east now after taking El-Fasher. What are you expecting to see happen here? I mean, what do you fear the situation could develop into even further?
There's grave concern that the conflict is going to continue to spread, including to Kordofan. And what we really hope is that today's emergency special session is going to focus international attention on this. It's a forgotten crisis in many ways. It's not on the headlines of Western media. And the international community has to mobilise in order to take action against this. There's been strong calls today for immediate ceasefire, for action to ensure that international law will be respected and that the dire humanitarian needs are going to be met. Access to safety for those who are trying to flee, including those fleeing within the country, as well as those who've sought refuge in surrounding countries.
Sudan is experiencing one of the world's worst humanitarian emergencies, and yet, as you say, it's a forgotten crisis. Help us understand why it's being largely overlooked by the international community, and how do you think that could change?
Well, we sincerely hope that the world's media, as well as governments everywhere, are going to focus their attention on this. It is a humanitarian crisis on a massive scale, and things can be done to alleviate the suffering of the Sudanese population. There needs to be more support to humanitarian effort. There needs to be pressure on the parties to the conflicts to bring the violence to an end. And there needs to be greater messages reinforcing the importance of respect for international law. We hope that the international community as a whole is going to have a wake-up call from what we hear today, and will be ready to take action.
And do you think that the individuals responsible for this violence, for this bloodshed, will ever be held to account?
The UN Human Rights Chief today was talking about the importance of gathering evidence and being ready to ensure that international proceedings can be activated in the longer term. We hope in the meantime, however, that there's going to be action to stop the suffering that we're seeing right now. This is the urgent imperative that we hope can be met. UNHCR is doing its best, working with partners in the UN system and beyond, and this includes in surrounding countries that have opened their borders and offered protection for refugees. But they need support to be able to continue to do that, as the likelihood is very real that displacement and arrivals are going to increase. This includes also countries further afield around the world that need to provide protection to Sudanese refugees in the face of the horrors and the risks that they have faced at home.
Madeline Garlick from the UN Refugee Agency, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.